this point, 2016 was a very good year. Spring melded into early summer as smoothly as a happily purring cat. We had already done some of my favorite shows. We were flying high in mini drone. We rocked in the second happiest place on earth. I fought the living dead in Davy versus the Zombies.
Because what you gonna do when Captain America runs wild on you?
Yeah, take that. Oh, you want to sit with this too?
Ha! And a pinch to grow an inch.
Then I did something I'd always wanted to do. I took the train to the Florida Keys for some underwater adventures in Adventure in Key Largo. And then I rode some bitchin' waves in a Cocoa Beach adventure. It truly seemed like this would be the best summer ever. At least it was until I walked into the parking lot on June 18 and found that my nearly brand new, totally bitchin' motorcycle had been Hello? Yeah, police department? I'd like to report a theft. Yeah, on my motorcycle. Right out of my parking lot. Yeah. A pretty Orlando police officer named Flores came out and took a report. While we talked, she got a call from a fellow officer that a bike had been found on the service road surrounding the lake directly behind my apartment complex. Sure enough, it was mine. So I rolled it back into my parking lot. Look at my pretty motorcycle. Isn't that nice? With the help of a good friend, I got her running again. Chinese parts are hard to come by, but I managed to find a headlight to replace the one thieves had taken. I couldn't find a cowl, but I was thinking of using the shield I'd had hanging on the wall and fashioning it into a nose piece when the whole project became moot. On the 4th of July, I went into the parking lot to find that my bike had been stolen again. So another call to Detective Kreiner, the investigating officer, and another report. But to tell you the truth, I doubted it would accomplish much. That night, while watching movies with Beach Bum, my cat, I figured I'd never see that motorcycle again. But then, on July 9, a couple of cops woke me up in the middle of the night, pounding on the door to tell me that my bike had been found and tossed in a field behind a house where the thieves who had taken it had been caught and arrested. Damaged and undrivable, the bike had been taken to the impound at a place called Johnson Wrecker Service, where I was told I could pick it up when the police were finished with it. 2 days later, I went there. The bike was a stripped-down wreck. So, I had it towed home. And then secured it on the patio with the heaviest chain I could buy at Home Depot so I wouldn't have to worry about it being stolen a third time while I tried to figure out what to do next. I first bought this bike for two reasons. First, it was a really cool bike. But second and most importantly, it was not only wonderfully affordable, but an economic treasure. It didn't require insurance, and it got 95 miles per gallon, which meant that my gasoline bill went from $20 a week to $2. But now, thanks to a thief named Ricky Allen Myers, I could quickly see it becoming a money pit. First off was the towing and storage charge. When the cops recovered the bike and sent it to Johnson's Wrecking to collect evidence, I didn't know that I would be responsible for the towing and storage charges. Since the police already contract with Johnson's, the space where my bike was kept during the investigation was already paid for, and yet I was being billed anyway. Hey, don't you contract with the city for police service? Yep. So the police have already paid for the space where they took my bike? Yep. So why did you bill me? 'Cause we stored your bike. But you took it to a place the police already paid for. That's right. Then I don't need to be charged. You sure as heck do. Why do I have to pay for it if they already have? They didn't pay for storage. They paid for space to conduct their business. You pay for storage because it's your bike. This was hopeless. I called Detective Kreiner. She said that since the bike had been used in the commission of a crime and stored by the police for investigation purposes, the city was liable for the charges. She told me to call the Risk Management Department's claims supervisor, Karen Zito, to authorize payment. Miss Zito was unexpectedly abrasive and uncooperative from the offset. Her very first statement was, "I have never paid for such a thing, and I don't intend to start now." I gave her the name of the detective and the reason she told me to call. "Well, they'll do that," she said. But, I countered, I never asked or authorized the cops to take it there. "Well, that's standard operating procedure," she said. "But it was used in the commission of a crime, and it was only there as part of a criminal investigation," I said, getting heated myself. "Look," she said with finality, "we didn't get your bike stolen, you did. It's not our fault, it's yours. You need to pay." And that was that. She even sent me a follow-up letter. Pretty much says the same thing. Of course, I called the detective back and left multiple messages. She never returned them. As hard as it is to accept, facts don't lie. The City Beautiful treats victims as criminals to save money. I supposed I could sue, but that would cost more than the charges. And there was this little fact to consider. If you don't pay Johnson's charges, they are legally entitled to attach them to your vehicle registration. Then, You can't register any vehicle in the state of Florida until you pay Johnson's first. There was no way around it. I had to eat the charges. In retrospect, I should have consigned the bike to a junkyard, recovered part of the legal extortion money I paid Johnson's wreckers, and started over with a new scooter. Instead, I decided to put her on the back deck and try to repair her myself. When the thieves took the bike, they actually tried to hotwire it, so they cut the ignition wires here and here. So what I'm doing is I attached new pieces of wire to it, and of course I color-coded it so I know where it goes to. Now I'm going to do the same thing over on this side, and that should put the ignition back in its proper wiring sequence, and then I can deal with the battery. Then I can deal with the other issues too, but at least after I get this done and then get the battery in, then it should be able to start it. Okay, now we're dealing with a brand new battery, and we're also dealing with these terminals that got torn out. I've already done the repairs on the fuse case, but now I've got these brand new terminals that I just put on there and crimped on myself, so yay. So far so good. As soon as I wire this battery up, I should be able to turn the key and thinking it should start. Alright, a little duct tape repair, and you can hear it. The engine is actually running. I've got the thing started. So, that's a whole lot of the battle. And you can see I covered all of my wiring up here, so when I hit on the road it doesn't blow it all apart, which doesn't exactly look great, but it'll work, at least until the front end comes in, and that should be Monday or Tuesday. Meanwhile, yeah, heavy duty chain. Getting her started and secured were only the first steps. The cowl and headlights had been missing since the first time she was taken, and the back trunk probably got broken off when she was tossed into that field, but it was gone too. Finding body parts for a Chinese bike isn't easy even online, but a friend turned me on to this place, Ride Green Scooters in Winter Garden, just north of downtown Orlando. They sell bikes, fix bikes, and fortunately, sell parts for bikes too. Alright, so far this morning I managed to get the trunk back on. And next comes the front end and the light. Okay, this is the front end and the light assembly. Turn this over here. Yeah, this will be the front end of the bike itself. And trust me, this was not easy to find. It's also not complete, so once I get it on the bike, I'm going to have to manufacture some more parts for it. But basically, this is it. After cutting some pieces down, particularly here, I've got it so that it fits on there, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Now I have to manufacture some pieces to fit right in here. Okay, now to deal with the issue of those side panels that go on the nose there, what I did is I went down to the Dollar Tree. Right, and I bought 2 of these little plastic bins. Now, the bins have absolutely nothing to do with the panels, but what it did is I was able to use the lids, the white plastic on the lids. So, first, I took some paper outside. I don't know what I did with it. First, I took some paper outside and I cut a template so that this is the piece that how the piece should look on both sides. Then I cut it out of that plastic and then put it onto the sides with duct tape. And it looks just like this. Okay. So, fit it on both sides here. And over here as well. Which is just as well, because yesterday when I left this out here and I had them open like that, a curious little 2-year-old reached inside and pulled out all the wires, so having this on here was imperative. Yeah, that should have been it, but it wasn't. The thing started missing, then shuddering, then backfiring. I changed the spark plug. It had no effect. So there was nothing to do but send it down to Green Ride and see if they could figure it out. At least the pickup was free. This morning I am starting off on my way to the bus stop. I have to go all the way out to Winter Garden to ride green scooters to pick up my bike. This is the final leg in the repair process to put it back on the road. So, off to the bus stop. Oh, the first thing we have to do now is wait for the bus. And then we wait for the bus. And then we wait for the bus. Me and my shadow, just playing a little bouncy ball. That's right, waiting for the bus. It's been almost an hour, so I must have just missed it. But finally, the bus arrived. Then it was an hour-long ride to the city. To the transportation center. Where I changed buses and then went into Winter Garden. And finally, and after a somewhat interesting bus ride, it was a little long but at least scenic. Here we are at our destination, Ride Green Scooters. These people are really good. They do good work, good service. They're the ones I got the parts from, so. And here we are, running in pretty as can be. Except for that. $200+ was a lot to spend, especially on top of all the other costs. But at least I figured that would be the end of it. Except it wasn't. One night I fired up the bike and pulled out of the parking lot only to realize I've got no headlights. Well, here's the culprit for my latest problem. Right here. As you can probably see here, when the electrical work got done, both the bulbs blew. This is, of course, only a problem because it's so damn difficult to get the nose piece and the headlights off. It did leave me stranded in the middle of the night with no headlights. So, off to AutoZone to spend more money on this thing. Well, guess what? AutoZone does not carry motorcycle headlight bulbs. So, thank God for Amazon Prime. Yep. They were able to deliver these overnight. Yeah. So, now all I need to do is just take these and install these suckers. And that should be the end of the latest traumatic problem. And there we have it. As you can see, the headlights are lit. And hopefully this should be it for now. Wow. What a drag. Those lights weren't cheap. When they blew a second time and I had to limp home in the dark, I thought I'd lose my mind. Turns out it was a $6 part called a regulator rectifier. The new coil had blown it, and because it wasn't working, all the bulbs burned out twice. But that was it. Except it wasn't. Now, 8 hours after charging, the starter started dragging like a drunken man. Okay, this is the latest purchase in trying to get this stupid scooter of mine to work right. This, of course, is a battery charger. Now, I need the battery charger because lately the bike has not been able to hold a charge. Despite all of the work that I've put into it lately, it won't hold a charge. And in fact, the other night, it stranded me at work. I couldn't get it started at all. I had to beg a ride home from somebody else because even the auto club left me stranded. So hopefully this thing will be the solution to the problem, finally. I mean, damn, this thing is turning into such a money pit. And that should have been that. But it wasn't. While all this was going on, the kid, the thief, who created this nightmare, was cooling his heels in the Orange County Correction Facility, namely jail, to be exact. His name is Ricky Allen Myers. He's 18, still a kid really, but still old enough to know what he's doing. He was arrested July 9, same night the cops came pounding on my door at 4 a.m. As fall neared, his right to a fair and speedy trial by a jury of his peers was fast approaching. And I got a subpoena in the mail calling for me to appear as a witness for the prosecution, should they need me. They charged the kid with attempting to flee the scene, resisting an officer without violence, and, of course, grand theft, third-degree motor vehicle. The subpoena asked for me to be available for a court date beginning on November 7th. But it never went to trial. The kid copped a plea, pleaded no contest, and walked away with time served and adjudication withheld. Basically, I had absolutely no idea what withhold of adjudication meant. But, according to this, it's a Florida law which allows someone to basically walk away scot-free. Even though someone has been arrested and has pleaded in court no contest, which is the same as pleading guilty, the judge, at their discretion, can withhold adjudication, which means they're not convicting them. The person has not been convicted. All it'll say in there is that it's been withheld. This is done for a number of reasons. In fact, most sources say it's it just makes it so that you don't have a permanent record, and it's an extreme show of leniency on the part of the court. Obviously, this is a law that favors the rights of criminals, since it eliminates their obligation to face the consequences of their own actions. As incredible as it seems, this unbelievably permissive law allows criminals the chance to admit their guilt and then walk away with clean records. It's as if the court is saying, "We know you're just a victim of society, and we will not judge you." Literally, we forgive you. While this Jesus law is great for crooks, it is a total kick in the crotch to their victims. Hard to forget the unfair fees imposed by Johnson's wrecking and the city-endorsed consequences for not paying them. Harder still to forget the behavior of the police in the middle of the night, or the words of a city official stating that, "We didn't get your bike stolen, you did. It's your fault." Well, okay. This is the end of the line and the end of the story.
I just left Ride Green Scooters, where I traded the old bike in for a new one. The owner there, Ron, he allowed me $250 for it. $250 for a bike that's not even 2 years old. So, here's the end of the story.
Next day, Ride Green called and said the new bike I just bought, a Wolf EX 150, was ready for pickup. So, after another long bus ride to the shop in Winter Garden, I picked up my new ride. Happy.
And here we are with a brand new ride.
5 days later, with only 69 original miles on my brand
Pretty
spanking
cool, huh?
new bike, it flamed out and died half a mile from home.
No cheaper than the other guys that tow bikes.
Thanks, man.
Alright.
Sure.
And there goes my brand new motorcycle.
So, furious at having had to do it, I pushed it home and had Ride Green Scooter pick it up to find out exactly what had happened. Ron called back that same night and said the problem was fixed and I could pick up the Wolf. So, back to the bus stop. And on to another long bus ride.
This is Central Station, right?
We are now approaching Arnold Palmer Hospital.
But finally I was there. The mechanic blew it off as if the problem that had left me stranded was an easy fix and no big deal. I stopped on my way home to celebrate.
Just leaving a place called Freddy's Steak Burgers and Frozen Custard. There we go. This is the
I guess I should have included this one in the perfect burger, huh?
Freddy's Steak Burger.
And then we were all taken on home, got the bike back. They say it was a wire. It was a loose wire to the coil. So hopefully, no more loose wires. But an hour later, she flamed out and left me stranded again. So here we are before the light goes, in the parking lot of the Cinemark Theaters. Brand new bike, only 85 miles on it. And it's broken down on me twice. Twice. That's why I was on the bus to pick it up. Bought it brand new, it lasted 3 days, and then it broke down again. So, they said at the shop that it was pristine, it was ready to go. I didn't even make it home. I made it this far, and here we sit. As the AAA came out to holler back home for me, I couldn't help but smell the citrus on the whole deal. I asked the driver what he thought I should do about it. Personally, he said, I would have bought a Harley. Now just remember, when things go bad,
Yep.
alcohol will not solve your problems. It will, however, help you forget exactly what they were.